Hey there, I'm Julie, and this is the Married to Addiction podcast. If you're here, then you're probably what I call my secret sister. We're in a situation we never asked to be in and fighting a battle we never wanted to fight. We're faith-filled women who are married to an alcoholic, and it affects every inch of our lives. If that sounds like you, then this is a safe place for you to land. Married to Addiction is a faith-based podcast where I help you find the tools and strength you need to navigate your husband's addiction without losing yourself in the process. So please subscribe and tune in as often as you can, because your husband's recovery is important, but so is yours. Some big news for you today. I have a brand new, powerful, free coaching series that was taken directly from the Get Off of the Addiction Roller Coaster event that I had earlier this year. I have rebuilt it as a free coaching series that you can sign up for, and it will help you, just like the title says, get off of the addiction roller coaster. Even if you think your husband will never get sober, there is still so much you can do to reduce the chaos in your life and stop feeling so helpless. So if you feel like your life is out of control and you aren't sure what to do next, and every single day just feels like an emotional roller coaster, then this is the absolute best place for you to start. So in this coaching series, we talk about some traps that you may have fallen into, how you can access and position the power that you already have, which you may not even realize you have, and how to use the right tools in your situation. After going through this free coaching series, you'll know how to reduce the friction and conflict in your home. You'll be able to provide a more peaceful environment for yourself and your family. You'll know exactly what to do when tense or stressful moments arise, and you will experience a refreshed spirit and renewed empowerment. Now, this coaching series is all delivered to you via email, and you just log into a private platform to access each day's content. I think you're going to get so much out of this, and it is absolutely free. To sign up today, just head to marriedtoaddiction.com/roller coaster. Hope you decide to join me there. Hello, and welcome into episode 100 of the Married to Addiction podcast. Before we get started with today's episode, I just want to thank you so much for being here with me. Whether you've listened to just a few episodes before this or all 99 of them before this, you are appreciated, and I'm so glad that you're here. So today's episode is called Stop Setting Yourself Up. Now, this episode might end up being pretty eye-opening for you, because I know that if you had told me some of the things that I'm going to tell you today, back when my husband was addicted, I would have been pretty shocked. But the truth is that while our husband's actions definitely affect us negatively sometimes it's even on the daily, our actions can affect us negatively just as much. Now, this isn't going to be to place blame in any way, because we all have done some of the things that I'm going to talk about, maybe all of the things that I'm going to talk about. I did all of the things. The purpose of this episode instead is to help you realize that there are more ways than you think that you can actually control the chaos in your life as it relates to being the wife of an alcoholic. So let's dive into this. How do we set ourselves up, and what can we do about it? I'm going to give you 3 ways today that we set ourselves up. But once you begin to get the gist of this, I bet that you're actually going to be able to identify even more ways that you are inadvertently and unintentionally setting yourself up. So first, what do I even mean by, quote, setting yourself up? What I mean by that is that you are taking an action that is 99% likely to cause either a reaction or a response or an incident that is not going to end up being pleasant or helpful for you. When we set ourselves up, we are basically asking for trouble. That's the long and the short of it. We are asking for trouble. Even though it doesn't feel that way at the time, it almost never feels that way at the time, because we are running on emotion in those moments. So what are some examples of this? Well, the first and probably the most common is asking questions that you already know the answer to. I used to do this all the time. In fact, if I had $1 for every time I uttered the words, "Have you been drinking?" I would have a lot of dollars, okay? A lot of dollars. When we ask this question, we already know the answer, but we ask it anyway. And then we get mad and we say, my husband lied to me when he tells us that he hasn't been drinking. Listen, the addicted mind, its main goal is to protect itself. So when the addicted mind is confronted by someone who it knows is a threat to the addiction, then of course it is going to try to protect itself with a lie. We need to realize that these lies are coming from a place of addiction, and a mind that is addicted will protect itself first and foremost. So there is really no point to even asking these types of questions unless you enjoy setting yourself up for being lied to. Another way that we set ourselves up as wise alcoholics is looking for alcohol. I did this, and I bet you have also done this. Maybe you're still doing this. Our husbands are alcoholics. If we look for alcohol, spoiler alert, we will find it. But then what happens? We usually end up showing it to our husband and confronting him. And does he ever get in the car and go to treatment in that moment? Has it ever worked out that way for you? I'll tell you what, it never did for me. In fact, it just made things worse. And a lot of times did the opposite. Hiding alcohol is another way that an addicted mind will protect itself. Alcoholics hide alcohol, and confrontation around us finding alcohol will almost never result in our desired outcome. But it will almost always result in a giant fight and less peace for you and even more division in your marriage. So there is no point in searching for alcohol unless you enjoy setting yourself up for those things. And the final example I want to give you today of how we set ourselves up is by trying to control things where our husband's drinking is concerned. So we might do things like buy him beer so he doesn't drink whiskey, or drink and party with him on the weekends in the hopes that he won't also want to drink throughout the week. Or sometimes we think it would be a good idea to give him ultimatums or make deals around how, when, what, and where he can drink. But when he doesn't do those things or does do those things, we get so mad when he drinks the whiskey anyway, or when he drinks throughout the week anyway, or when he doesn't abide to our drinking mandates that we've tried to set up. But of course he doesn't, because he's an alcoholic. And any attempts to control the alcoholism will almost always fail. So there is no point in attempting to control the drinking unless you enjoy setting yourself up for your requests or ultimatums or deals or whatever else you're trying to put into place being ignored, because that's most likely exactly what's going to happen. And then you're just going to be super frustrated, angry, resentful, bitter, etc. So I hope this has shed some light for you on ways that you are inadvertently and unintentionally setting yourself up. And again, if you're doing this, you are not alone. I set myself up for so much more pain, more conflict, and more heartache almost every day when my husband was deep in addiction. But my hope is that by bringing this to light for you and helping you see ways that you are actually setting yourself up accidentally, that I can save you from some of that pain, conflict, and heartache going forward. As always, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Quick question for you before I let you go today. Have you been to the Married to Addiction website? If you haven't, I would love if you would go pay it a visit. It's just marriedtoaddiction.com. And over there, you can see just a lot of different information about my podcast. There is a blog on there. There's some free resources for you. And there's also a few ways that you can actually get some help if you need a little more help and direction and support as you travel this difficult path with your addicted husband. So if you haven't yet, please go visit marriedtoaddiction.com. Thanks so much.